Welcome to Beyond the Hologram. My name is Saul, and in this video I'll be talking about why you should avoid rebound relationships at all cost. So stay tuned. Welcome back. So why you should avoid rebound relationships at all cost. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, the pain of a breakup is one of the most difficult for any human to endure. I mean, I had my fair share of breakups, and it's just not very nice. Not a very nice thing to go through. You lose sleep, you lose your appetite, you constantly have that pit in your stomach that you wake up with and you go to sleep with. You can't focus, you can't concentrate. You can affect your well-being, your health. It can sometimes affect your job, your concentration. Even if you've been in a relationship that wasn't working out and you guys weren't really getting along, and you knew that it had no future, still breaking up will always leave an empty space. That empty space that was filled, with their presence. Even if it wasn't, if it wasn't a very successful relationship, there's still the things that you had in your life when they were in your life. Even that text message, that daily call. And if you used to live together, I mean, there's probably still things around the house that constantly remind you of them. Little everywhere you go, you see something that reminds you of a certain period, a certain time. There's a lot of memories that come up. Now, as I said, I had my fair share of breakups, and all of them were really, really difficult. And the grieving process is not always something that we are willing to take on ourselves. I mean, it's a difficult process, and it's sometimes can last quite a long time. So some people have the tendency to jump into a rebound relationship to try and numb the pain or shorten it. But that's the worst thing that you can do, and that's something that should be avoided at all cost. Now, there's some people that simply don't like being alone. It's just in their nature. I mean, they can be in a relationship with someone knowing that it's not going anywhere, but they don't like to be alone. They don't want to break it off and stay alone for as long as they need until the next one comes along. So they have this tendency to sort of stick around until someone else comes along and they're ready to jump ship. And some people can spend a lifetime rebounding from one relationship to the other, all their lives, just from one to the other, just because they don't like to be alone or they're not capable of being alone. Now, the problem with a rebound relationship, even though it shortens the grieving process and sometimes can heal the pain, or when I say heal the pain, it's, I call it, putting a Band-Aid on a broken arm. Seemingly they heal the pain, but, all they do is suppressing it. So when you enter a rebound relationship, you are entering a relationship fully loaded with emotions and feelings that belong to your previous relationship. You already charged up, and the person that you enter a relationship with may not know that you've just broken up with someone, and you still have a lot of feelings, and it doesn't have to be love for the person, but as I said, being with someone, regardless of whether the relationship worked or not, there's still a lot of life shared, and there's a lot of memories and a lot of feelings that we still carry with us. And when we enter a rebound relationship, we'll practically transfer these feelings from the previous person to the next one. And this can be quite overwhelming for the person we're entering a relationship with. And for us as well. I mean, we can find ourselves seemingly, falling in love with that person within a very short amount of time. For some people, it takes days before they feel this, sense of they're falling in love with a person they just met. And that's because, and for the person they enter a relationship with, this can be quite overwhelming. And if they don't understand the meaning of a rebound relationship, even if they know that you just got out of a relationship, they may think that, they just fell head over heels over you. And that, they can actually be led on into thinking that they just, find someone who is really into them. Now, I'm not saying that it's done on purpose. I'm just saying that when you enter a rebound relationship, whether you understand it or not, you are transferring a lot of emotions from a previous relationship to the next one. So what happens then is, as time goes by, the pain from the previous relationship starts to dissipate, and the true feelings and true colors started to surface. And it can actually be quite abrupt as well. And all of a sudden, the person that you entered a relationship with all of a sudden sees who you really are. Not in the sense that it's good or bad, but the real you before you entered the relationship with them, already fully loaded, with feelings and emotions from a previous relationship. And this usually leads to a lot of problems. All of a sudden, you discover that you're actually incompatible. But by that stage, there can be a lot of feelings involved, particularly with the person that you rebounded into. And for you, it just means that you've skipped the all-important grieving process, and even though it's very painful, and some people just can't handle it, it is a very, very important process, and it's a very important time. That's the time that not only you clean the slate and clear up all the the feelings and whatever accumulated in your previous relationship, but it's also a time to reflect, and it's a time to think about what went wrong, whether from your side or their side, and this is a time where you come to a lot of conclusions about what's really suited for you in a relationship or a person, and you are skipping all that. And chances are, when you're rebounding, you're just going to repeat the same mistakes, or many times you will be, you will be choosing, the first person that shows an inkling of interest in you, because you are not really in a position to be clear and make a really good judgment about the person that you need in your life and you need to have a relationship with. So the grieving process has its benefits, and this is a time where, like I said, you learn from your mistakes, and you become, a lot wiser about your needs and the person you need in your life, and the more suitable person for you, as you clear the slate and you're ready to then go into a relationship and build the feelings organically, slowly, with that new person, without tainting it with the emotions and feelings that belong to someone else. It can also be a bit unfair towards that person that you got involved with, because they don't really understand what is happening and why you're so into them in such a way, having such a tight grip on them, it can be quite overwhelming, and it can, as I said, lead them astray and confuse them later on. They can, they can think that, you're having all these feelings for them, and they can start developing deep feelings towards you, and then there's going to be another heartache when the dust settles from the previous relationship. To be honest with you, I personally, if I meet someone and they told me, if they tell me that they just got out of a relationship, I'll be running for the hills, because I understand that the kind of person that I'm about to get involved with has got a lot of probably more baggage than an airport carousel that hasn't been cleared up. And I would know that this could create a lot of problems. Now, I'm not saying that, some rebounds hit the mark, and they end up being a long-term, really good, successful relationship. But the majority, and there's a big risk that, you are entering a relationship which is bound to fail. And if you are the kind of person that don't like to be alone, then you're just going to repeat that over and over again, never learning which, what kind of person really suits you. And you can actually go through a lifetime of rebounding. So the best way is, go through the grieving process. It's really, really hard and it's really difficult, but it's valuable. It's necessary. Not just for your growth and learning more about yourself and your needs, but also for the other person that doesn't really understand the meaning of being involved with someone who comes into their lives fully loaded. Sometimes we need to go through several relationships before we get to meet the one. And sometimes, it's something that, is planned for you as well, to go through certain stepping stones, learning periods, if you like, in order for you to actually get to know yourself and know what's really right for you. And it's not a process to be taken lightly. If a solid long-term relationship is something that's important to you, is something that you want to be successful in. Because a relationship is not just about meeting someone, it's about growing with someone. And it's really easy to enjoy the honeymoon period, the first 6 months, 8 months, a year, or whatever, when you're all at your best and you get to know each other. But later on, this is when the challenges begin. This is when you start discovering what you really have in common and what you don't. And there's the risk that you'll be growing apart. And so the more you know yourself and the more you know what you need in a person, in a relationship, by taking the time to learn from previous relationships, go through the grieving process, sticking with it as difficult as it may be. And so you learn more about what you need, and you have a better chance of evaluating the person you're meeting, and whether you have things in common that can actually last a long time, and whether you can grow together, or whether you can develop a close relationship together with similar interests and values and other things that you may not know that are important for you unless you go through the grieving process and you look closely at what went wrong, without any judgment or blame or finger pointing. It's you discover what you really need. So this is why rebound relationships are not advisable. and as tempting as it may be to try and avoid the pain of the grief and the breakup, in the long run, you will be saving yourself a lot of pain that could actually continue forever until you stop the cycle. So I hope this helps, and I hope this makes sense. If you like this kind of videos, please subscribe, please share, hit the thumbs up if you liked it, and write your comments. I'd like to know what you think. And until next time, be well.